Kadri Samsunlu, Chief Executive Officer, Istanbul Airport. It was so good to talk to you today. Thank you very much for coming from Istanbul to Montreal extra just to meet with the Air Navigation Commission. Kadri, did you enjoy engaging in discussions with the Air Navigation Commission?
Well, I did a lot. I mean, as I told during the meeting, we completed our ramp up. Now we can spend more time to engage ourselves with the decision makers of our industry, and most of them, all of them are based here. Therefore, it was a good opportunity to come to Istanbul, from Istanbul to attend, participate to this very useful and engaging meeting. We have seen a lot of good interaction among the speakers with the members of your committee, and I think more importantly, they were also pretty eager to find out what's being done in other parts of the world, and at the same time how the players of the aviation industry can interact with the decision makers like yourselves for the establishment of good future for the players as well as the world.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the topics discussed really reflect the current situation worldwide? Well,
the industry here or there, doesn't matter, are facing similar problems, and the biggest issue is basically better use of the capacity, air capacity as well as the land capacity of the airports. We have all of us have limited resources for growing our businesses, but adding better efficiency into our business models with the support and the guidance of committees like yourselves is just going to bring solutions to our problems. As you know, the industry is going to grow 100% in the coming 20 years, and we cannot keep building airports or the runways. Therefore, capacity maximization or using the airports up to the saturation is very key. And all other issues, master planning, drone, or performance of the ground handlers, data, as well as environmental concerns, engagement with our stakeholders, especially citizens living around the airports, were very useful. And we have also had the chance to listen the committee members' view and also sensitivity on certain aspects of these subjects, and I take them with me back home, and most definitely I'll incorporate some of my findings from these meetings as an outcome of the discussions. I will try to incorporate them into our business models as well as processes.
Very good, very good. In your opinion, do you think it's time to start talking about the future of aviation? If yes, what direction should this conversation take?
We always talk about future of the aviation because we are a player here, and I think the future, there are big targets and small targets. I think when we discuss about the big targets, again I will repeat myself, the capacity maximization and adding and supporting the airports by the introduction of more flexible procedures are going to be extremely helpful, and also the ICAO is proposing mandatory and recommended procedures for local civil aviation authorities to implement in individual countries, and we would like also ICAO to have a leading role of cooperating with the local civil aviation authorities to make a distinction between what's mandatory and what's recommended, because it is pretty common in other parts of the world, consolidating all those standards and make them mandatory for operators like us. But it is not coming for free, and then we are also encountering certain costs of fulfilling meeting those standards. Therefore, I would strongly recommend ICAO to have a very proactive role in also collaborating with the local civil aviation authorities making these distinctions. I mean, we know cost-benefit. I mean, depending on the outcome of cost-benefit analysis, the local CAAs can introduce can deviate from those standards. But what they prefer is being on the safe side, and then and using all those standards as mandatory. That's one area I think we need more collaboration between you. I mean, between you and the local CAAs. And of course, I mean, drones are the realities of our life, and they are going to be much bigger issue going forward. Therefore, somebody needs to come up with a solid framework in dealing with the drones. And also, I mean, drones are not bad. Okay, drones are also going to bring a lot of efficiency into our business model. We will see drones in our operations in terms of identifying FODs. I mean, basically inspecting remote locations of the airports, as well as maybe we will see in the future the drones are going to be used carrying goods, maybe people. Therefore, this is also an interesting subject of the agenda today. But one other area where I see very useful today's discussion was the data collection. We need a body which is going to gather data from all operators all around the world and maybe create certain benchmarks, because we want to see where we are. I mean, compared to similar hubs or similar airports. But at this moment, this data is not readily available, and I think there might be individual solutions between one airport to another one. But what we need is basically a global database where everybody is going to see where they are. And for managers of airports like us, we need to know where we are. And that was also very useful today.
Very good. So to address all those issues, and as you know, the Air Navigation Commission is the technical body of this organization. We consider and recommend standard and recommended practices and procedures for air navigation services. We have 17 technical panels working directly for the Air Navigation Commission, formed by member states, experts from member states, and experts from the industry. We got the support of the Air Navigation Bureau and other bureaus like the ETB and the Technical Cooperation Bureau. In your opinion, what should be the relationship between the Air Navigation Commission and the industry?
Well, the industry, I believe, needs flexibility in managing the operations. Air Navigation Committee should work very closely with players like us, listen our concerns, and hopefully take into account when they come up with standards. If you, and I think it's obviously today's meeting is a clear evidence that you are also favoring of meeting with the industry players, listening their views, take them into account, and then of course at the end you are going to be providing global solutions for the industry. But having said that, we may come up with some really practical requests from your committee, and in case it is addressed properly, that's going to bring really more returns for our investors, and also better use of resources in terms of capital, in terms of human resource, as well as you may really facilitate better use of the capacities by consulting very closely local authorities, and therefore I find this engagement very important. And for the sector, in either case, we are obliged to comply with your standards. But I think hearing insiders before determining the standards is very interactive and very effective way of incorporating us to a certain extent into the standards as much as you can. Of course, then you are going to decide what is best for the industry. But hearing the third parties, hearing outsiders who deal day by day with ongoing issues on the air side requires engagement, and I think you are open this door to all of us, and that's why we are here today. And I think it's a great idea of collaboration with third parties, not necessarily just listening what we say, and not putting what we request into the standards, but at least knowing what it is.
Of course, communication is very important.
Exactly.
Kadri, more general, what do you think the ANC can do for the future of aviation?
Well, again, I mean, ANC can make our life very easy, very easy by being practical in terms of capacity management, in terms of putting the infrastructure standards for runways, for taxiways, much earlier without incurring costs at our ends. Therefore, what you can do is you can fuel the growth of the industry by managing all resources in all meanings better. And that's why I see your role very crucial for our future, because without you, we may end up using our capacities less effective, putting more human resource, developing bigger infrastructures on the ground without having any really requirement to do that. That's why I think you are very important. I mean, we can manage the land side, but on the air side, we totally dependent on you.